Imagine America in 1995. A young teacher walks into their first classroom, carrying fresh notebooks and the belief that life will be simple and stable. Back then, being a teacher meant shaping young minds and earning enough to build a modest, comfortable life. A starter home, a small yard, a safe neighborhood, a future you could actually plan. Now, imagine 2025. The same classroom, same passion, same profession, but the world outside has completely changed. The dream of owning a home, once normal, now feels almost out of reach for the very people who educate our next generation. This is the story of how one of America's most respected professions went from buying a home in their 20s to struggling to afford rent in their 30s. This isn't just about housing prices. It's about the slow collapse of a promise that once defined the American middle class. Let's travel back to 1995. Movie tickets were $4. Gas was just over $1. And the number that truly mattered was this. The average new teacher's salary was about $31,000 a year. Not a fortune, but it worked. Because the median American home price was around $119,000. A home cost roughly 3.8 times a teacher's salary. Banks liked those numbers, so mortgage approvals were straightforward. A young teacher could realistically buy a 3-bedroom home without drowning in debt. It wasn't luxury, but it was theirs. It was stability. It was progress. One single teacher's salary supported that dream. Fast forward to 2025. Teachers still walk into classrooms with hope, but outside, their own dreams have become heavier and more distant. Today, the average teacher earns about $65,000 a year. Before we celebrate, here's the painful truth. The median American home price is around $400,000. That is more than 6.5 times a teacher's salary, nearly double the affordability gap of 1995. In simple terms, a teacher in 1995 could buy a home by age 25. A teacher in 2025 struggles to buy a home even by age 40. It's not just the price. It's the down payment, often $80,000 or more. It's the interest rates in the 6 to 7% range. It's the competition from investors and cash buyers. So even with a respected job and a steady income, the math just doesn't work anymore. The dream that felt normal in 1995 now feels like a luxury. Behind these numbers is an emotional truth. In 1995, a teacher worked one job. They went home, graded papers, and spent weekends with family. Life was manageable. In 2025, teachers are exhausted. They tutor after school, drive for ride-sharing apps on weekends, and take summer jobs just to keep up with rising rent. Imagine working a job that shapes the future of a community, but not being able to afford a home in that same community. That's the emotional cost of America's housing crisis. So why did this happen? 5 main reasons. First, housing prices skyrocketed far faster than wages. Second, we didn't build enough homes for decades. Third, investors swept in and bought up starter homes. Fourth, mortgage rates surged after 2022. And fifth, current homeowners are locked into low mortgage rates, so they aren't selling, keeping supply low and prices high. The result? Teachers, nurses, firefighters, the backbone of the American middle class are being priced out of the neighborhoods they serve. And this has real consequences. When teachers can't live in the communities they teach in, schools and students suffer. Young Americans today look at their parents and ask, "How did you buy a home at 25? Why can't I afford what you afforded?" They are working hard, they are educated, they're doing everything right. But the math of 2025 is stacked against them. A teacher in 1995 could buy a home with a plan. A teacher in 2025 needs luck. This isn't a negative story. It's an awareness story. Because when people understand the scale of the crisis, they can push for solutions. If America wants strong schools and a strong middle class, it must rebuild housing affordability. Because a society that cannot house its teachers risks losing its foundation. In 1995, a teacher could buy a home with a simple plan. In 2025, that same teacher needs a miracle. Until that changes, the American dream will remain a memory of the past, not the promise of the future. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content like this.